Καλησπέρα καλοί φίλοι τηλεθεατές. Να είμαστε και πάλι εδώ μαζί λοιπόν. Κυριακή είναι ώρα για την εκπομπή Πρόσωπα, Faces. And I have to turn in English. So I have to say good evening to my friend Michael James.
Good evening to my friend Vasily. How are you? Well, I'm great, and you?
Nice to see you. You know, we meet every morning. Nearly.
We do indeed. We're getting a bit too familiar, Vasily.
Yes, yes. It's nice to have you in a different environment. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Sitting down, talking. Usually when you talk in the morning at LGR, we just run about. Because you have to run about to prepare the news and all this kind of thing. So Michael James, news bulletin every morning from Monday to Friday, 8:30.
That's it.
London Greek Radio.
That's
Yes.
it. And you know, somehow I managed to sleep as well. So.
Yes, definitely, yes. Michael, before I go to these details, how you get involved with LGR or this kind of thing, give us a little bit of background about yourself. I mean, were you born in London?
I was born in London, University College Hospital.
Ah, okay.
I'm not going to give you the date, Vasilis, because you'll use that against me. Yeah.
I know you about 60 years.
And I thought we were friends.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm only joking.
Yes, I was born in Camden, so
Camden,
I'm a
yes.
Camden boy. And a lot of my friends, when I was growing up, were of Greek Cypriot origin.
Yes, yeah.
Particularly in the 60s and the 70s. I think the Cypriot community was quite prevalent in
You
Camden.
started from there, yeah.
Yes,
That's right.
and some of my friends were in the Mornington Crescent area, near where Theatrotechnis is now. So that was my initial connection with the community.
You used to visit Theatrotechnis?
I had some friends that lived in the apartments behind there, so I passed by. We used to play in the park together as boys, and I have to say, yes, a lot of my friends when I was growing up were of Greek Cypriot origin.
I think you told me some time ago you have another guy who works for LGR. He was in your school. He was in the same school.
Barry Leventis,
Yes,
actually,
you
who is
see,
a
yeah.
counsellor
That's it, yes.
at Barnet. We both went to school together, not actually in Camden Town. We both went to Quinton Kynaston, and that's in St John's Wood.
Yes.
But we were in the sixth form together, again, years ago, far too many to mention.
Okay.
But what a coincidence, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. So your connection with Greeks is, you know, years back.
It's been lifelong,
Yes,
actually,
yeah.
ever since I can remember, really.
Okay. In a previous interview with your wife, we learned about you. I mean, we find out how you met and all this kind of thing.
Always interview the wife first. That's a good
the
trick.
wife first,
that's
yes, to get away easy, you know what I mean? Because, tell me about your, you know, life, business, and you know, connection with the radio before you come to LGR, because you worked for radio before.
Yes,
and you still, I think you're still working for another
Yes,
radio.
I have worked for other stations. My background, funnily enough, was in the photocopier industry. That's where I trained in my foremost business.
Yeah.
And in the 1990s, the first recession that we had kind of convinced me to do something else. And that's when I went into media, or I retrained.
Okay.
And I took some auditions, I took some interviews and some voiceover coaching, and got one or two voiceover jobs. I started to work in different radio stations. I did some voiceovers for LGR.
Yes.
At the time, LGR were looking for an English news reader. I did one or two reads for LGR, and it developed from there.
How long ago it was that, Michael?
I think I've been in LGR, you probably got the records, but I think nearly 10 years now I've been working for LGR.
You started when we moved to Finchley, I think.
I've only ever worked out of the Finchley building, yes.
Yes. Okay, and you met a couple of people there, you know, and you're still doing business with them. For example, Mr. Papadopoulos, one of them.
I've met some lasting friends, absolutely, no doubt. And you mentioned Nikos Papadopoulos, certainly is a very close friend of mine. And we worked together on a number of projects which involve Cyprus and involve the community. And that really developed from the radio.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk to you about the news bulletin. I mean, how long does it take you in the morning, and how much, you know, work you have to put to this?
It's a good question, Vasily.
Yes.
Surprisingly, people always assume that newsreaders come on television or on radio for 15 minutes or half an hour, and that's the extent of the work that they need to do. Of course, a lot more goes into that, a lot of preparation, a lot of studying, a lot of cross-referral to check different reports. So quite some time is taken before I actually go on air.
Yes.
And as you know, my bulletin is quite comprehensive. It includes news from Greece and Cyprus, international news, local news. As we're based in London as a Greek radio station, we have to report on things that are going on in Enfield, in Haringey, in Barnet. And then we talk about sports news, traffic and travel, and there's a newspaper review every morning which covers the headlines from all the main national newspapers. And we finish up with the weather report.
Yes. How you described your love for Cyprus? You thought I was going to ask you about your wife? No, about Cyprus.
Well, I can answer both of those, of course. If you ask me about my love of Cyprus, I don't think the programme is long enough for me to go through the superlatives.
Give me the main points, and you know,
I think
me that you love Cyprus more than me.
I think I'm a Cyprusaholic.
Yes.
So ever since my first visit 10 years ago, I have been in love with the island for many, many reasons. And not just the obvious reasons, not just the weather, the ambience, the hospitality, all of those things that Cyprus, in my opinion, does better than anybody else. It's just a way of life and a relaxed feeling. And I always say, you know, I can be under the weather in the United Kingdom, feeling ill, run down with middle-age complaints, and a week in Cyprus, and they all seem to just disappear. It's quite remarkable, actually. But more than that, I do enjoy mixing with the locals. In fact, most of my friends are Greek Cypriot. I don't mix with the English community when I'm in Cyprus.
Yes.
And I'm almost like a Cypriot, an expat that goes back to Cyprus, because I know you've mentioned many times when you go back to Cyprus, you have a series of visits, this cousin, that relative, that uncle. It's the same for me now.
Yeah. You have so many friends. And,
I almost have to go in under the radar, Vasilis.
And you have some good connections with key people like, you know, mayors and all this kind of thing, you know.
One of the things I've done for LGR over the years is that during my holiday stays in Cyprus, I've tried to interview the different mayors and the different representatives and politicians in different communities. And my travels have taken me to Paphos, Larnaca, Nicosia, and my local town in Paralimni.
Yeah. How is it working? I mean, is it, you prefer working with the Cypriots and Greeks or living with them?
Good. Well, I work with you every day, and that's an experience.
And working with me every day.
I think it's very different.
Yeah.
What I had to get my head round initially was, I think that the Cypriot mentality is very open but very volatile. I think we as a nation, the English are much calmer, much more reserved. So that was something that took a while to get used to.
What was the most difficult part in preparing the news, you know, coming from Greece and Cyprus?
To really know what was relevant and what mattered to the community here. Of course, news stories mean different things to different communities. What's important to the English community might not be very important to the Greek Cypriot community here in London. And what I've also tried to do over the years is to modernise my presentation. Because of the second and third generation of Greek Cypriots that are here, are essentially British or English speaking. But we still need to be able to provide them with a news that's relevant about Cyprus and Greece.
Yeah, you learn a few Cypriot words as well, you know, phrases and all this kind of thing.
I have indeed.
For example, kochini pefti.
Well, this is quite funny actually, because we had somebody to come and fix our bathroom.
Yes.
When I was in Cyprus, and the guy agreed to come, I think about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And my wife was moaning at me because she said she wanted to stay on the beach, but I said, no, we have a commitment to this guy, so we've got to get back for this time.
Yes.
Of course, I'd forgotten for a moment we're in Cyprus time here, and Cyprus mentality. So we rush back from the beach. 4 o'clock arrives, nothing. 5 o'clock arrives, nothing. 6 o'clock arrives, nothing.
Yeah.
In the end, I'm beginning to tear my hair out. Finally, he phones and says, I'm on my way. He comes over. Now, of course, you have businessmen or traders or plumbers or whatever who are late in England. When they turn up in Cyprus late, they turn up with a bottle of wine or a bottle of Kia or some flowers for your wife. They give you a big hug.
Yes.
Okay, and this kind of makes it
just
okay.
to calm you down.
Absolutely, but I did say to him, that's very nice, and I know that you're friendly and everything, but we really need our bathroom fixed. I said to him, I learned a phrase that this is Cucini Befti. Obviously, that the Red Thursday never arrives.
No.
And he laughed so much because he heard these words from an Englishman that he reduced the price. How about that?
Okay, now we talked about Mr. Papadopoulos earlier on. Nikos Papadopoulos is a very good friend of mine and yours. And you working together, producing a magazine for football.
Yes.
For the Greek Cypriot teams in London. Copa, yes?
Yeah.
Give me more information about that. I mean, how this came about.
Football magazine essentially is a celebration of the local Cypriot football, the Copa League. Petros Michael, who is the publisher, started this way back when the league started in 1975. And then he went back to Cyprus to run various businesses and came back 2 years ago and decided there was a hole in the market, if you like, that we needed to represent what's going on in the local football. Yes. So he reproduced the magazine and will be producing the
seventh. This long time ago, it's
1975 is the first issue, and this will be the 7th edition. And this year it promises to be bigger and better than ever before, with lots of features about local teams, and we try to cover what's important to the youth. We've also got a feature on girls' football.
Are there any girls'
Yes,
teams?
There are girls' teams. There are. We have a young lady called Sophie Georgiou, who plays for Watford and has scored a goal in the cup final.
That's good.
And I think what happened since the Olympics, that people's attitude has changed towards ladies' football. It's now become traditionally a male domain. It's become really quite acceptable now. And girls are taught football at a very basic level. Now, even if they don't go on to become Sophie Georgiou's, it teaches them ball skills, discipline, all of these things. The main thing, the main raison d'etre of the magazine is to encourage youth and to encourage young people in the community to play sport and not do the silly things that young people can get up to. That's what's really behind the magazine, to encourage that.
Okay, I didn't ask your wife because she told me always she's painting and all this kind of thing, and she has to work, and she says she's not famous and she's not regional, this kind of thing. But who is cooking? Who is doing the cooking? You?
Well, if you saw me cook, Vasilis, you would laugh. That's not my forte. Okay, my wife is a very good cook,
she's
a very good housewife, and a loving mother. and I'm fortunate because I get the best of both worlds. I get Belgian cuisine, English cuisine, and now she's taken to Greek food.
Yes. Is she able to cook, Greek food as well?
Well,
she knows
having had Greek guests, and we must have passed the test because they came back. I think she can do. Obviously, not the dishes which require the long marination, like the kleftiko or something like that. But she does other dishes.
What is your famous? Favorite Greek dish? What is it?
I love souvla.
Souvla.
Yes.
Can you cook souvla?
I have had a go at it, but as I say, that's not my forte.
You burn it.
And my fingers.
I give you a very easy recipe, okay? And you use this and you get away with it, and when your wife is busy painting and she can't stop, you can cook for her, for a family. It's boiled eggs. Boiled eggs.
Now that's one I haven't thought of, Vasilis.
Yes, easy. Get a small, pan, okay? Put some water in. You have 3 people in the house, yes?
Yes.
3 eggs is enough. You don't need more. Put the 3 eggs in. Leave them for about 10-15 minutes. You don't need to do anything else, and you have a.
Do you really think I can manage this?
Yes, easy.
I'll hold you to that. I'll tell you how I got on.
Okay. tight.
Absolutely.
Michael, talking about the magazine,
Yes.
this food magazine.
Yes.
You're working at the moment. And,
We are. It
yeah,
comes out in May.
in May. So, are you going to have it, publish and launch it, or how it works?
It will be launched, I think, in Greek City.
Greek City, yes.
And as I say, we're planning on the end of May. We have 1 or 2 articles outstanding. We want to finish up towards the end of the season so that we correspond with the end of the season, so we can do a report on the champions, the teams that have been promoted, those that have been relegated, and some of the cup games. So once that's all in, once we have all the articles, we will then put the magazine together and publish.
It's anything that you want to do and you haven't managed to do it yet? Do you have any future plans, dreams and all this?
Regarding the magazine, I have to say that our dream will be realised next year, because it will be 40 years of the Gobba League.
Okay.
So next year will be even bigger production than this year. And we were already starting to build for that. And we do have some excellent support in the community. Peter Druziotis has supported us and given us 100% clearance because he's very keen on youth development as well. Okay. So that's our dream for next year, to get the 40 years under our belt and really celebrate it.
Yeah, I'm not asking you when, Michael, but when when the time comes to retire, where are you going to retire?
Well, I don't think it's going to be Iceland or Greenland. So I think, as I've said
Protaras.
Well, I have my home in Protaras.
Yes, yes.
I have friends there, and we like the climate all year round. Of course, unlike for younger people, July and August is a little hot for me, but May and June is really quite delightful. And last year we had the most magnificent time, first 3 weeks in November. 25 degrees most days. We were swimming in the sea, going for really nice walks. So we've seen Cyprus at different times of the year. So in answer to your question, could I retire there? Yes. Yes. Although I'm a bit like you, Vasilis, I need to be doing something.
Yes.
We're not the sort of people that sit around.
I know.
I will always want to do something,
Yes,
I think.
yes. Well, I agree with you, definitely, 100%. I mean, like me, as you say, I can't just sit down and do nothing. I have to do something. But in Cyprus, I suppose you might be, if you retire there, you might be find the right direction, and you might be getting involved in in news reading as well. I mean, there are so many radio stations and
Well, I'll trust you to put in a good word for me.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a special letter for you, a reference letter, okay? And I'm not expensive. I mean, okay, 10% is good enough from your earnings.
Is that negotiable?
It is. Michael, it's been nice to have you here, in Faces, talking to you about Michael James, and finding out more about you. And, wish you all the best for your future, and good health and good retirement when the time comes.
It's been a real pleasure, Vasilis, and good health to you and your family.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you.
And see you tomorrow morning.
Nice and early.
Okay. Κάπου εδώ και πάλι πρέπει να σας αφήσουμε. Ήταν ο Michael James, ο οποίος είναι στενός συνεργάτης του Ελληνικού Ραδιοφώνου του Λονδίνου, κάθε πρωί στις 8:30 λοιπόν, με τις ειδήσεις στα αγγλικά, και ένας άνθρωπος ο οποίος αγαπά πάρα πολύ την Κύπρο, έχει το δικό του σπίτι εκεί και όπως έχουμε αναφέρει, τουλάχιστον 3 με 4 φορές το χρόνο επισκέπτεται την Κύπρο και τα σχέδιά του είναι να μετικήσει στην Κύπρο όταν τέλος πάντων έρθει η στιγμή που θα έχει την ευκαιρία. We have to say thank you to Michael James for being here tonight, and to wish him and his family well. And we're gonna meet next Sunday again at the same time with a new face or faces. Till then, take care of yourselves. Bye bye for now.